Hello everybody and welcome to my 10th Advanced Excel tutorial, and this tutorial is going to show you how to import data from a database. So I'm going to show you how to do it from a Microsoft Access database, but you can also use other databases, and it's a pretty similar methodology. So you can import tables or queries, and I would generally recommend that you import queries rather than the tables themselves. Just in Microsoft Access, if you import the table, then it also will lock down the table as well. So let's get started. So I have a database on my desktop, and called, you can't see my desktop because it hides the icons, but if we go and try and import it, let's go to data, import external data, import data, and then let's go to desktop, and then zip codes. This is just a database that I got by just googling in sample database on the internet. So select your database and click open, and then it's coming up with a list of all the objects within the database. So you've got this database contains 3 tables, and then 1 query. So I'm going to import the query. As I said, I generally wouldn't recommend importing a table. If you're going to do anything with that, then just set up a query to run off of the table. So I'm going to click on that, click OK. It will then ask you where you want to import it, so I'm just going to do it in the existing worksheet, and then click OK. And then you'll notice here that it's running the query, and then it's imported it into my spreadsheet. And then, so that's imported it the first time, but the really useful thing with this feature is it's not just like you've copied and pasted it in and then that's that. This query is now an updatable query. So if you right click on it, then you'll notice that you've got a refresh data button, the same as you would do on a pivot table. So if you click that, then it's just going to update the data for you. So that, that's really useful. So there you go. You've got your query in there. Now let's say you want to add on some formulas onto the end. So let's say we want to go. Let's say zip end is 0. So it's just going to test whether the last character is 0. So equals if right, and then have our zip code, comma 1 equals 0. Then true, otherwise false. And then we drop that formula down. So we've got that formula running against every record now. But when you update your query, that formula isn't necessarily gonna do it. So if there's extra records being added in, they're gonna drop down here, but our formula isn't going to follow across. So if you right click on your query and go to data range properties, then you get all of these properties that you can change. And then this one down here, so fill down formulas in columns adjacent to data. So if you tick this, when you refresh it, if records go away from the database, then it won't fill in the formulas there, and if it adds someone, then it will add them on as well. And it will do that for as many formulas as you want, so you can have them going all the way across to the side. When you do refresh the data, you'll notice that when I did it earlier, when I tried to refresh it afterwards, it was coming up with this message saying it's already running. You just have to wait for this world to stop spinning before you're able to refresh it again. And then the other quite useful thing is you can have it. So if you when you open the file, it will automatically refresh it. So that's a useful way of quickly giving people information from your database without actually letting them have access to the database. Because you can just give them a spreadsheet that refreshes a query when it opens. And if you want to get rid of the data when you close it down so it doesn't actually save the data in it, then you can click on this button and remove external data from worksheet. So that's really useful as well. If your database is password protected, then every time you refresh it, it's going to prompt you for the password. Unless you click this button here, which will then save the database password down within your query, so that you don't have to put the password in every time. So let's see how much time we've got left. That's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do exactly the same thing, but to a spreadsheet instead. So thanks for listening, and I'm going to hope to catch you in the next tutorial.